Fiona, can you hear that? I don't think it's the sound of treats. I think we might be running out of time. Alright, welcome back to Sailing Life Aquatic. On this week, we are in a race against time. Well, Fiona's in a race for treats, but I am in a race against time in order to get my dinghy davits done and my new solar panel mounted. So, I have one solar panel on right now and I gotta get the second one added, but I'm currently waiting for an Amazon package to bring me a few more fittings to mount onto the stainless steel brackets. And they're gonna show up the day before I have to leave. So this is not looking good because things here tend to not arrive on time anyways. It's really boiling down to the last minute. And I'm still waiting on my welder to finish all the welds on the new dinghy davit reinforcements. It's getting close, but it's boiling down to the last few days before I'm getting the boot off the dock and heading back out to the mooring ball to live a little bit of life on the hook. Stay tuned and let's see if I get all these projects done, or do I have to pay and stay for another month? Alrighty, so some of the additional things that we've added to Life Aquatic is this huge reinforcement bar going all the way down because the dinghy I have is really heavy and I want to be able to make sure that we can hold it up. So now we've also added these cross members up here to make sure we cancel any of the side to side sway motion. This is to take a bunch of the load because where it's connected here to the boat was previously really pulling on the entire railing back here, and I don't want to take the railing off the boat accidentally if we applied too much weight at one time. This pole was added originally from the previous owner, but it really wasn't taking up that much load as it's not that far away from the pivot point. This one is actually able to take a lot more load and apply it down into the fiberglass versus this one really wasn't taking that much load off of your points out here. And I'm actually going to use these as well to pull the dinghy up against those poles to give it a place where it's hard to pull into, so that way the dinghy doesn't have a potential to sway as well. So the dinghy is going to come up into these poles and then rotate just a little bit so it's up against them. Next, we can do a close-up of the area we've added in the middle here. So we're kind of building a truss, kind of like a bridge, in order to try and cancel out as much of the side-to-side swinging motion as we can. And if we can't cancel it all out, we might end up running turnbuckles down to the corners. So that way we have something pulling together the davits and then something also pulling them apart. So that way all the forces from side to side will be completely canceled out. First and foremost, a little bit of backstory about why I'm even planning on making changes to these. When I first bought the boat and I did a crossing from the Virgin Islands to Puerto Rico, the original solar panels I had on this boat almost fell into the ocean. Like, these are all screwed together with set screws. Many of the set screws were loose that some of these tubes actually pulled apart because the davits were swaying back and forth so much, and I didn't even have anything on the davits. I was towing the dinghy the whole way, so that showed me that I need to get these fixed and just build them stronger. As you can tell, this system has gotten a lot stronger. I would not have wanted to do that before, and I can do that on both sides now, and I weigh, I don't know, 175 pounds, 180 pounds, somewhere in there. The dinghy, I don't think weighs 400 pounds, and if two of us can do that, it'll be okay. The one thing we need to cancel out, though, is any side-to-side motion, because that rocking, if it keeps pulling on any of the screws, eventually it'll remove any waterproofing, 3M, 5200, because it'll keep just working them back and forth. So we got to make sure we cancel any motion in this system, and that is what's going to make it really strong and last a long time. Well, today is the day. It is my last day on the dock. The parts from Amazon have arrived here. So, it's time to go get started. I gotta take off the old solar panel so that way we can make room to put the second one on as well. And yeah, that's the plan. So we gotta take off the other solar panel, add the 4 new tubes to the system, and then take all the parts, see if I can get them welded together today. Otherwise they're gonna live with set screws for a while. And call it good. That's it. Let's see if we can get all the work done.
I'm in sync with the earth, 10 toes deep, flower child from the turf. I never switch sides, like even when I die, I'm a ride for the squad, let her ties in the hearse. I've been on a vibe, kinda hard to describe. I'm in between, I'm good and it's fine.
Alrighty, so as you can see here, I moved the triangle that was in the middle all the way to the back. I have measured my down angle so it'll cancel all the side-to-side motion on that one, hopefully. Now I gotta put the next one up on the front and see if I can build in the triangle pieces for that one, get the lengths measured, and it's off to cutting and welding, hopefully. I just gotta get the welder to show up, which is literally the hardest job here.
Try and get grit, but it don't make sense, cause you can lose life on this fast route. Yeah, turn thoughts to a cash cow.
Alrighty guys, so a bit of an update here. It is Saturday. I'm supposed to be off the dock today, and my welder didn't show up. So I have all the tubing with me, and I'm leveraging the power of people that I know. And I found another welder in town. I just got to his house and there's already 2 boats there with a whole bunch of new T-tops on them. So that's super promising because my other welder has already cost me like $1,000 extra just to stay on the dock longer. Plus nothing is done yet. He still has to finish a huge hole in one of the davits. And I just can't wait anymore. I gotta get off the dock and go back out to the mooring bowl because it's expensive being on the dock and I don't want to be there. I'd rather put that money into a new inverter or something else. So I'm at the new guy's place. Here we wait, and hopefully he'll be here soon so I can weld up all the mounts for the solar panels so that way I don't try and drop any more solar panels in the ocean. So stay tuned. Let's see how this goes. And don't pay people everything because they won't come back and finish their work apparently. Well, I gotta still wait another hour before the welder wants to work. At least he's willing to work today though. And he's cheaper than the first guy, so hopefully the welds go well. I decided to go grab lunch and then take Fiona for a walk on a familiar beach. We lived here on the beach for about 6 months. Well, in an apartment behind the beach, not on the beach. For about 6 months when I first moved to Puerto Rico. So, and this is the beach where I found Fiona. So it's kind of a blast from the past and it's always nice to take her home. And she loves beaches. All right guys, I am so stoked to say I think I'm officially having a new welder because this guy, I showed up to his house, he only spoke Spanish. But basically I got the point across, I was like, I need these things done fast. And he quoted me, and he quoted me half the price of what the other guy did. He goes, I'll have it done in 3 hours. This dude had it done perfectly in 3 hours, said done, ready to rip. So I am beyond stoked to go start taking these tubes back because they are so much stronger. So this is gonna make a huge difference to this whole system, I think. And hopefully I won't drop any more solar panels in the ocean, or at least try to. So, all right, beyond stoked. Let's get back to work because it's Saturday. I gotta be off the dock tonight and I gotta finish this job. So there's all those rattly tubes and Fiona. Passenger princess. Also, when I left, he gave me a whole bunch of avocados. So, thanks, Gigi. All right, so we are back on the boat. All these pieces, this is not welded, that's going to crossbar. All these 90-degree things have been welded and each of the end caps have been welded. And honestly, he did a really good job, so I can take out all those screws, or I might just leave them. But, got all that done. Whole bunch of connecting rods up there. So we are ready to start attaching the new solar panel mounts up here. I've got all of the mounts already this morning set in the locations I wanted them. I think it's mostly measured. This one I'm gonna have to cut off eventually because I can't get the screw out, but that's for another day. So let's get started. All right guys, well, the tubes are all on and mounted. So I triangulated the rear pieces back here to hopefully cancel any sway in the panels. And then the front is only triangulated down towards us.
because I figured that the back will cancel it, and after welding all those pieces, it added a whole bunch of strength there. So you can see the side view. Triangle down, triangle down. That one's a little bit longer because the piece is lower, so it should help take out a little bit more of the force being a little bit longer. I don't like that they're not the same triangle, but whatever. And then this piece over here is actually brought in just a hair, so that way the crane can come down through that window. You can see it's not in line with this one. These two are in line, but this one I left a little space there so the crane can sneak right through a little window. So hopefully this works out well. Next I gotta go grab my other solar panel, finish drilling the holes like I had in this one, and remount the panels, or at least remount the aluminum, and then plop the panels in, and this bad bee is going to be ready to hit the water and make some power. All right, next, the frames for the solar panels have been mounted onto the back of the davits, and that's what it's going to look like. So basically these frames are convenient because I can put the panels in and out, and the frames will stay there and always kind of give protection to the solar panels, as well as make it easy to place them because the frames can always pretty much stay put. So I'm going through with this little piece and marking everywhere I need to drill holes in order to mount the frames. Then I'm going to mount, this is where the old one was mounted sideways, so it'll be similar to this, but now it's going to be in new locations. So going through and marking all the mount points, and we're going to screw the frames in. And after the frames are on, I need to take the frames off and then mark the solar panels where to remove the screw pieces from them. Basically just so that way the screw doesn't interfere with the solar panel when I drop the solar panel into the frame. So I'll show you in a minute, it'll make way more sense. All right, so the frames have been drilled out for all their mounts to go into the tubes. Now I need to grab the solar panel, match it with its frame, and then cut out the solar panel around these holes so that way the solar panel can drop into the frame, and then the holes or the screws won't touch the solar panel or the solar panel frame because it has a frame of itself. But this is going to be way stronger, and these frames will always stay on the boat, and it'll keep it really easy because I'll just load the solar panels into the frames and they'll kind of sit in, and then I'll screw the solar panel to the frame with a couple small screws, but it should be really strong. All right, so next on the bucket list is basically I'm going to go through and mark on the solar panel, which is currently upside down on the dock, where each of these holes corresponds, so I can cut out that section below the panel, and it should make it really easy to just drop in the panel. I got to do it for this panel and that panel. We are still racing against the clock, but we're getting there. Everything's welded. That was the hard part today, and that was done by 3 o'clock. So, huge win. Let's get to it. Alrighty, so hopefully that was fun to watch. I ended up cutting these out with the tin snips, and that worked really well, and then just bent it back and forth a few times. The tab popped right out, and then I went around it with a Dremel, so that way there's no more sharp edges left on any of these. The Dremel is a fantastic tool to have on the boat, just saying. And I was going to originally do it with my file, and then decided that filing this would be just stupid because I have, you know, power on the dock and it makes life better. I gotta bend this piece flat. This one got ate up a little bit, so we're gonna fix that quick. All right, that's looking better. So the panels are pretty much prepped and ready. Next step is mount the frames and then mount the panels into the frames. And then after the panels are mounted in the frames, I'll drill and put in some mounting screws for the frames to the panels so the panels don't come out of the frames. Anyways, we're getting there. So stay tuned, it's getting real close. Box of U-bolts in the car, so it's gonna be a quick run of the car and then we'll be back. All right, time to go put the rest of this bad boy together and get the frames mounted and tightened down. All right, so something is off because these panels aren't quite lining up anymore. So I think what happened is I put the right panel on the left side and the left panel on the right side. So they're not quite straight, so that way it leaves a little space for my crane on the other side. And I think what happened is that they're not lining up because the holes don't match where they were supposed to go before. So we're gonna pop all these little U-bolts back off and swap the frames and see if it fits better. Because otherwise, this will bother me forever. Pull-ups from the center of the sorry for the reggaeton. I was doing pull-ups from the very center of the cantilevered part of the solar panels, which should be the weakest part of the entire system. This is the furthest out and it's supporting 170 pounds, so I'm not super worried about slapping solar panels in here now. Each of the panels themselves weighs like 45 pounds. They're huge, they're 410 watts a piece, so I think the system will hold them though. Sit down for a second because I've been working. I don't have a watch on. It's probably 7:30. Judging by the skylight, and I've been working since 6 a.m. this morning on this same project. So it's been a long day. Driving, welding, building, constructing, deconstructing multiple times, cutting, placing, and then at the very end, lifting two ginormous panels into place, all by my onesie savvy. Man, that looks cool though. That's gonna be a lot of power juicing into this boat. So now I just gotta find a battery company to sponsor me because I don't wanna buy $2,000 worth of batteries. I've got the power to support it now though, and that's the best part. Beautiful. Hold on. Well, y'all. It is the next morning here, and as you can see, I am no longer on a dock. And so Matt from the Sailing Channel GBU came over and helped me move back out to the mooring because it was a pain in the butt by yourself. And we're here. The solar panels are mounted. Everything's here. Next on the docket for today is finish the wiring, put the other MPPT in, and then I'm gonna be cooking with 2 solar panels. I just plugged this one in already into the old connections, and it's already cooking away for today. So 1 panel will be plenty, so it gives me a little bit of time to finish up the wiring for the rest. But I am no longer against the race of time because I got off the dock in time, so don't have to pay another like $800 or $1,000 or whatever it is for another month on the dock. So beyond stoked about that, and time to wrap up this project. wind passing south of us today, so I just went out and set a spare anchor to make sure that I'm not going to blow anywhere while I'm working on the boat. But it is so hot in here today because all the hatches are shut because it keeps raining, so I am sweating like crazy. But next, I'm working the wire back through the aft cabin. I got it through here. Next, I gotta walk it all the way back out to the back of the boat and then pull it out from the back of the boat and hopefully get it hooked up to the other solar panels. That way, I've got two pumping in power. Basically, what we've got going on out here is this is where the two solar panel wires exit the boat. One of them is laying here and it's plugged into this left panel already. Now I gotta run a whole bunch of extra to the right panel, and that's why I'm running extra wires so I can reach to there. So let's see if I pulled enough through. All right, so seeing as there's a passing rainstorm every 5 minutes, I had to make sure I get the lines here covered up and resealed, but successfully run the excess line from here out, up and over to the second panel. So now I'm gonna go jump inside, do a little wiring, get the MPPT all set up so that way I can come out here, strip the 10 gauge wire, plug it in, and that way everything inside is taken care of. The only other thing I need to do is double check and make sure which one's positive coming off the panel before I flip them and plug it in the MPPT. That'd be bad. So the way I've been doing this is just taking my voltmeter, sticking it on there when there's a little bit of sun out, reading which way is sending positive out of the panel, and then wiring from there, and that seems to work really well. I haven't made any mistakes yet. So here comes the next rainstorm. Time to go inside and do some MPPT work. Alrighty, so wires on the inside have been cut. The MPPT and the new mount for the fuse have been installed. Sorry, it's really hot, so mine's just on a whole nother whirl. But this is what we're looking at. This is where the new fuse has been mounted. This is the new MPPT. Here's the old MPPT, old fuse. And now I need to take this back off, run all the wires to the MPPT, finish installing the wires to the fuse, and then it's time to go outside, wire up the solar panel to the line. That's pretty much the last step, is plug the solar panel in, make sure I got positive and negative right, see if the MPPT turns on, and do the programming, and I'm done. Honestly, this job, had I not been lollygagging around or raining on me like every 20 minutes all day, so I have to go close the hatches, then it gets hot, then you're tired, so it would have been probably like a 2-hour install, but it's going to be an all-day sort of project because Puerto Rico time. So we're almost done though, we're getting there. Alright guys, so just to show you a little bit here, I finished in wiring the second MPPT, and I've now been running this for a couple of days. So I just wanted to go over a little bit about how much my power changed that I was making. So if we switch over to my phone screen here, you'll see exactly what's going on. So as far as inputs and outputs, I'm currently putting in 18 amps of power while I'm running my inverter. So running the inverter plus charging the laptop and charging some drill batteries, this is putting in a lot of power. So I'm already at 100% battery, more or less, but it's not on float yet. So we'll go back out here and go look at one of the panels just so you guys can see what this Victron equipment does. And so it's bringing in 36 volts at 6 amps and then dropping that down to 13 volts going into the battery at 16 amps. So when you do that conversion from volts, you gain a whole bunch more amps going that short distance from the MPPT into your battery. So these are some pretty high voltage panels. So it allows me to send a lot of power into the batteries, but only from the MPPT with the short line going into the battery, which makes it really a lot more
efficient because I don't need to run huge diameter cable to handle all the amperage from the panels. So this is working really well, and I've really been enjoying the system so far. And as you can see here, network total power is showing 424 watts off of both the panels. And today is overcast. So on a really sunny day, I'm willing to bet I'll be able to put outwards of 40 amps into the batteries, which means I can run anything I want in this boat, all of it at the same time, and still be charging my batteries, which is fantastic. It also sets me up for the future on sunny days to be able to make water with a water maker based solely off of my solar panels, which is one of the goals I was going for. So now that all the electronics in here are done and tucked away, let's go back out and look at the dinghy davits. So as you guys can see here, the solar panels are mounted, everything's plugged in and running as I was showing you inside, and the dinghy is currently up and out of the water on the davits. And even though it is a big dinghy, I'm able to lift it here in the anchorage. One of the things I don't think I'm going to do though is sail with the dinghy up there. I still don't love this system, as it didn't get as strong as I was hoping it would. It's strong to lift the dinghy, but it still has side-to-side motion, and I just haven't been able to cancel that with the setup, even with running ratchet straps out to the side to kind of pre-test the idea of using turnbuckles, and I don't like that either. So long-term solution is get rid of the whole system and put a really strong arch on the boat, or sell the boat and buy a bigger boat, which has been my game plan for 2 to 3 years. Anyways, this is just, great learning and a good starter boat for me, but realistically I want something in the 55-foot range. So we're almost there, maybe even 50, but that's a little bit too big, at least for me. A lot more boat to clean. But it's working, and it got the job done for now, which realistically the job I needed now was power. I got both my solar panels mounted up there, and I'm not worried about those because even last night we had 40 to 50 mile an hour winds blowing through the anchorage, and it's had that 2 or 3 times now from that passing tropical storm. And so I'm pretty happy with the way that the solar panel mounts came out, and the dinghy davits are functional at anchor, not functional for sailing. So I think that's just going to be the way the system is for now, unless I want to lift a canoe out of the water and sail with a canoe, in which case it would probably be fine, or one of those little inflatable West Marine dinghies. But for this giant beast of a dinghy, no way. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Life Aquatic. It was a lot of fun working on a little bit of machine work and electrical. Stay tuned for some more adventures coming up here. I'm hoping to do a little bit less boat work and a whole bunch more adventures coming up. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and stay tuned for more episodes. Thanks, guys.